Here's something that might shock you about retirement withdrawals. We've discovered that the withdrawal phase can actually be more dangerous than the saving phase. Now, the examples I share today use adjusted names and numbers to protect our clients' privacy, but every situation is based on real patterns from our practice. I'll walk you through each mistake, show you exactly what to do instead, and give you the specific steps you can take this week to help protect your future. Let me ask you something. Would you use a 30-year-old GPS to navigate a city that's completely changed? If not, then why are couples still using 30-year-old retirement rules that could potentially leave them lost and broke? Here's what we've learned. A lot of retirement advice can be completely outdated. David and Linda were following the classic 4% withdrawal rule because that's what many people had told them to do. It felt safe and simple. But here's what that rule doesn't account for, and this might surprise you. First, taxes. The 4% rule assumes you can just withdraw 4%, and that's exactly what you get to spend. But what if that money comes from a traditional IRA? What if it pushes you into a higher tax bracket? Suddenly, your 4% may become 3.1% after taxes, and your comfortable retirement could become a struggle. Second, different types of investments. The rule was designed for a simple 50-50 stock and bond portfolio. But what if you have real estate rental properties? You can't just sell 4% of a rental property every year. What if you have a lot of money in company stock from your employer? Those shares may have huge gains that may trigger massive capital gains taxes if you follow the 4% rule blindly. This general rule has no way to handle these real-world investment complexities. Third, market conditions. The rule says withdraw the same amount every year, regardless of whether the market is up 30% or down 20%. That's like driving the same speed whether it's sunny or there's a blizzard. What we've discovered is that couples who blindly follow the 4% rule without considering these factors may be setting themselves up for sleepless nights and constant money stress. Here's what we do instead. Rather than rigid rules, we use what we call a dynamic withdrawal strategy. And here's exactly how you can implement this. Step 1, tax-specific adjustments. Look at your specific tax situation each year and consider adjusting your strategy to be the most tax efficient. Sometimes that means withdrawing from taxable accounts first, sometimes from IRAs, and sometimes doing Roth conversions. Step 2 is an asset-specific approach. We handle each type of investment differently based on its unique characteristics. Growth stocks get treated differently than dividend stocks, which get treated differently than rental properties. Step 3, market-responsive adjustments. In great market years, you might consider withdrawing a little bit more to enjoy life. In tough years, you could pull back slightly to help protect your future. For David and Linda, using this dynamic withdrawal strategy instead of the basic 4% rule could potentially increase their after-tax spending power by about $8,000 per year, enough for that European trip they'd been dreaming about. Have you been following the 4% rule without considering these factors? Let me know in the comments if this is making you rethink your strategy. Now, here's the mistake that really surprised David and Linda, and it might surprise you too. Sometimes, the smart money move can actually be the most expensive mistake you can make, and it may cost you the freedom to be generous with your family. In our scenario, David and Linda had $800,000 in a traditional IRA, and were planning to follow the classic advice: don't touch them unless you absolutely have to. Their combined Social Security and pensions were projected to give them about $65,000 a year, so they figured they'd wait until age 75 when required minimum distributions kick in. They wanted to leave as much as possible to their kids. Sounds responsible, right? Here's what we showed them that changed everything, and it may have broke their hearts a little. By waiting until 75, their first RMD would be about $32,000. That could push their total income to $97,000, just over the 22% bracket threshold for 2025. Even worse, those RMDs keep growing. By age 80, they'd be forced to withdraw over $50,000 a year, whether they needed it or not. But here's what really got to them. All those extra taxes could mean less money for their grandchildren's college fund and less flexibility to help family when needed. What we discovered after working with hundreds of couples is that this wait as long as possible strategy can completely miss what we call the tax valley of opportunity. Let me explain what I mean. Here's how many people's income looks during their working years. Let's say David and Linda were making about $120,000 combined in their final working years. They're sitting pretty high up in the tax brackets. Then retirement happens. Social Security kicks in, maybe a pension, and their income drops to around $65,000. Now here's what many people don't realize. The tax brackets don't change just because you're retired. The 12% bracket still goes up to about $97,000 for married couples, and the 22% bracket starts right there. David and Linda have about $32,000 of room, and this is what I call the tax valley of opportunity. They could withdraw up to $32,000 from their IRAs every year and still stay in that low 12% bracket. And they have this opportunity from when they retire until required minimum distributions kick in at age 75. This could be over a decade of opportunity. But here's what happens if they wait. Required minimum distributions kick in at 75. And these keep getting bigger and bigger every year, pushing them right up into the expensive 22% bracket. This is money they could have been withdrawing at 12% instead of at 22% later. And that's the difference between potentially paying $3,600 in taxes on a $30,000 withdrawal versus $6,600. That's real money that could be in their pocket instead of going to the IRS. Here's the strategy that could save Dave and Linda thousands and give them the freedom to be generous. Here's exactly how you can take advantage of this tax valley of opportunity. Step 1 is to calculate exactly how much room you have in your current tax bracket. For David and Linda, they had about $32,000 of room before hitting that 22% bracket. Step 2 is to make strategic IRA withdrawals to fill up that 12% bracket. For them, this meant withdrawing about $25,000 per year starting at age 65. Step 3, consider converting some of that money to a Roth IRA while you're in the valley. This can create tax-free money for emergencies and generosity. You might want to consider taking a moment this week to look up the 2025 tax brackets and think about how much room you have in your current bracket. This one calculation could potentially save you tens of thousands. The result? Instead of facing massive RMDs that push them into the 22% bracket, they could have smaller, manageable distributions and a growing pool of tax-free Roth money. We estimated they could potentially save $45,000 in taxes over their lifetime, money they could now use to enjoy retirement and help their family. After working with couples for almost 50 years, this is one of the most overlooked opportunities we see. What's your biggest concern about retirement taxes? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one and use your questions to plan future videos. And here's the mistake that can potentially impact even a well-designed retirement plan and may affect the clarity and confidence you've worked so hard to achieve. What happens when life doesn't go according to your spreadsheet? David and Linda thought they had everything figured out. Solid withdrawal plan, tax strategy in place, and conservative projections. They were finally ready to relax and enjoy the retirement they'd earned. Then, life happened. 6 months after we first met them, Linda's dad needed to move to memory care. And the cost? $7,500 per month. They never plan for supporting aging parents. And honestly, many couples don't think about this reality. But here's what really made it challenging. They needed that money right in the middle of a market downturn. Instead of following their careful withdrawal strategy, they were forced to sell investments at a 25% loss just to cover these emergency costs. Linda told me she couldn't sleep for weeks, constantly worrying about their future. What we've noticed is that this pattern happens frequently. Healthcare emergencies, home repairs, family crises, these don't wait for convenient market timing. And for couples, these expenses often hit twice as hard. So you're dealing with 4 aging parents, not 2. The stress of unexpected expenses can potentially impact the joy of retirement even if you have enough money saved. Here's a mitigation strategy we built for David and Linda that helped give them back some clarity and confidence. And here's exactly how you can implement this starting today. Step 1, build your safety net. Consider keeping a portion of your portfolio in safer investments like CDs, money market accounts, or short-term bonds. A good target can be 12 to 18 months of expenses. This can give you money to access during market downturns without potentially selling stocks at a loss. Step 2 is to create tax flexibility. Have money in different tax buckets, taxable accounts, traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs. This way, you can choose where to pull money from based on your current potential tax situation and market conditions. Step 3 is to plan the uncomfortable conversations. Talk with aging parents about their long-term care plans. Discuss with your spouse what level of family support you're comfortable providing. These conversations are hard, but essential. It might be worth thinking about what 12 months of your expected retirement expenses would be and considering whether you have that amount in safe, accessible investments. The key is having options when unexpected expenses hit. If the market is down, you can potentially pull from your safer investments. If you're having a low income year, you might pull from traditional IRAs. And if you want to potentially avoid taxes entirely, you could use Roth money. What we've discovered is that having this flexibility is what may separate couples who thrive in retirement from those who just survive. Having options can help you sleep better at night. If this resonates with you, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. What unexpected expense are you most worried about in retirement? Let me know below. Let me quickly recap the 3 withdrawal mistakes that could potentially cost you significant amounts, not just money, but clarity and confidence. First is to stop blindly following the 4% rule without considering taxes, investment types, and market conditions. Consider using a dynamic withdrawal strategy that adapts to your real life. Second, don't miss out on your potential tax value of opportunity from retirement until RMDs kick in. Strategic withdrawals during this window could potentially save you tens of thousands and give you the freedom to be generous. And third, plan for potential financial curveballs with less risky investments and tax flexibility. Having options is what may let you sleep soundly at night. If you want to see how to build a complete retirement income strategy that handles all of these challenges, check out this video right here, where I walk through the exact 3 bucket system we often use with our clients. It's the foundation that can make everything else work. Remember, potentially avoiding these mistakes isn't about perfection. It's about preparation, clarity, and confidence. At Josten Financial, we've been helping couples prepare for retirement's unexpected challenges for almost 50 years. And one thing never changes. The couples who plan ahead are often the ones who can truly enjoy their retirement without constantly worrying about money. Retirement should be about freedom, family, and fulfillment, not financial stress. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.